back in round 2 and possibly 3 as well.
There we go.
Alright guys, we're getting ready to go here. First game for today in the Soac Guild Clash profession tournament. Engineers on the red side with our Mesmers taking up the blue side. I actually am going to turn the game down just a little bit here. Alright guys, so here we go now. 3 seconds to go. We have some swiftness being thrown out onto the Mesmer team. Engineers not so much. Let's open up to see. It looks like Engineer team is going to send 2 over to cross, actually splitting it up. One of them going over to the henge, one possibly heading up to middle or to intercept over here. We have one engineer taking over the mine, obviously. The other 2 look like they were going to go up around the back here. Meanwhile, on the Mesmers, 2 of them are engaging their chieftain. One is staying at henge, and the other 2 are also coming up around the back. So the initial middle fight is going to be a 3v2 in favor of the engineers, but they do have the buff now as they have killed their boss. Let's go over to the keep fight and see what we have going on over here now. So first off, I'm going to start off with the engineer, actually with the Mesmer point of view here, going over to Twisted Images. Get him, there he is. Twisted Images running the Shatter build here. He is running Arcane Thievery, an exception, or rather, instead of Blink for what we usually see in a Shatter build. But nonetheless, he is running that quintessential Shatter build. At this team fight at the moment, the Engineers definitely have superiority in terms of AoE. So it looks as though that the Mesmers are getting bursted down pretty darn hard here. Because of this AoE, Mesmer's actually having a really tough time winning this team fight, more than likely because of the Engineer AoE. Also over here at the henge, Kuroshi has managed to cap it for his team, winning out a 1v1. Back over to mid though, the fight is still brewing. NG Platypus is getting dangerously low here. Take a look at his point of view now. He has just gone down, and we are going to see IC Kill come in for the stomp. He will get knocked back though because of their big bomb that will go down. Trying to get in there desperately to res his teammate, the Engineers here. There's a lot of damage coming in from these duelists hanging out up here as well, and just in general from the Mesmer AoE. However, they were able to get him up successfully, and meanwhile, while that all happened, 2 more Mesmers went down. Twisted Images down here. He is trying to self-reg, and Chunky is having a bit of trouble hitting them there with the Momo for him, but he did manage to get him, so he will be going down in just a second now. Over to Draco Dustling here, who is actually leaving the mine. Nope, he was trying to take on Luli there, but back over here in the middle, Chunky looking at his point of view at the moment, who is running with grenade kit, bomb kit, as well as the net turret as well. A lot of NGs are running turrets here, surprisingly enough, considering you almost never see them at SPVP, but with the all-engineer team in here, they're choosing to utilize that properly. But back in the middle, it definitely seems like this team fight has actually turned into the Mesmer favor, because the engineers really haven't chosen to focus on this, rather worry about their side points a little bit more, because they can, especially with the Teldo-esque builds and just really any build that involves bomb kit, they can really win most 1v1s and sometimes even 1v2s on side points, which is why I think they really are shining on the side points and why they have been able to take.
But also notice how the Mesmers committed a lot of resources to get keep.
Yeah.
Because they know they can't really win these 1v1 fights.
Yeah.
And the engineers sustained themselves to start really well by using the water fields on the healing turrets and detonating their turrets. So their staying power was huge in that fight.
So we did just have the last engineer go down in middle, which is going to give Mesmers that control. Back over here at the henge, we have 3 Mesmers that I believe 3 Mesmers did move back to take on Kuroshi. A 4th will be coming in here now. So Kuroshi more than likely will not be able to handle this kind of pressure. But IC Kill's point of view, he was definitely running a bit more defensive build, if I'm remembering correctly. And he's actually going to retreat now. So the Mesmers will retain 2 points and start their move back towards a lead. And it actually looks like, once again, they are going to sort of chase Kuroshi. All 4 of them actually chase Kuroshi up the ledge here. Really adamant on killing Kuroshi for some reason here. And we will have the engineers once again grouping up to head in the keep. Engineers realizing now they do need that keep. They would like to keep the lead. We have both bosses are back up now, so it is susceptible to burst from both teams if they choose to go for it. Now let me go into the fight itself here on Cat McKit at the moment, running with a grenade kit, bomb kit, as well as his Elixir S. Definitely seeming to be one of the more damaged members. Unfortunately, he did just get bursted down by the Mesmers now, and the Willy is coming in for a stomp. Trying to knock him back, but that will not go off, and he will be stomped down. NG Platypus, who's running the Thumper turret at the moment, he did just lose control over it, unfortunately, so he isn't here. But definitely one of the more tankier members at the moment. He is getting somewhat low. He has his heal turret up now, though. He's back. He's still staying in this knockdown, but he was mowed, so he is going to be forced off the point once again by the Mesmers. We did, however, have Kuroshi move back, or one of the engineers move back over to henge to capture that back for his team. Engineers really are being, unfortunately, are not keeping their eyes on these points as well as they should. They've been back capped twice now. Meanwhile, the engineers are doing an excellent job utilizing the fact that they're having trouble in the mid-fights.
Well, the Mesmers really need to make better use of their portal, in my opinion, because they keep losing their back point. But they commit the team fighting pretty good. They're just committing so much resources to keep. If they kind of manage to watch out for their back point as well, they can easily win this game or still turn it around.
Indeed, they do have a portal now on mid, which they are going to use to retreat. I think once Twisted Image just captures this point, possibly a bit early on that portal, but they are going to jump through it now anyway. With the Engineers moving back into the mid fight, only 2 of them versus 4 of the Mesmers. So once again, we are going to more than likely see the Engineers come out on top here, as the other 3 are occupied otherwise at other points. We do have Bloody Kuroshi coming up around the back here now. The other 2 are making their way in, so mine is open for the free cap at the moment if the Mesmers would like to go for that back cap. However, not the best choice for a Mesmer in my opinion to roll for those back caps. So I'd like to know what you think though, Batosai, in regards to the Mesmers. Should they be going for back caps, or should they just be sticking to these team fights where they really shine with AoEs and just general support for their team?
If they wipe the team fight real quick and make good use of the portal, they can get their boss real quick, and they probably can pick up an engineer that tries to sneak behind to cap the point again, and then they will gain the advantage because they will always outnumber them in the fights.
So we do have a 4v5 again in middle over here. Engineers are this actually is a somewhat even team fight. The Engineers starting to come out on top of it now, but they are dangerously low. We did see a lot of the heals come out. We're really seeing amazing utilization of the healing turret here. We're seeing whole bursts to their entire team's health because of these water aura procs rather. And it's really just keeping the Engineers in this, especially on the small point in the middle, and it's really helping them shine. So really, I'd say it's pretty even in terms of who wins middle fights. We are seeing the Engineers at a pretty good lead, however, right now, though. They're at 295 points now, only about 100 points away from victory. The Mesmers still have a long way to go at about 340 points to victory.
One Mesmer is pushing for mine now. Let's see how this is going.
Take a look at that now. We do have Draco Dustslinger, who was running with the Elixir gun. Actually, he is in a null field now, so he's going to lose a lot of his heals and regenerations that he does have up. It has expired, so he's a little bit safer now, and we're seeing him now take him on. Both of these are actually pretty tanky, if I'm remembering correctly. Kid stays.
That's gonna take a long time. Let's check Henge. There's actually a team fight going on.
Going over to
they got a.
Good.
Engineers got a decap off, but they're pulling out now. That's actually smart. If they can pull out now, they will gain a lot from this because they still have the 2 cap. And by not overcommitting, because they could have easily turned that around the Mesmers. If they got 2 kills here, they would have gotten keep and maybe even a decap or a free boss.
We do have Kuroshi actually getting dangerously low here as they try to stomp out Twisted Images. They just res them up with the Illusion of Life, and they actually managed to stomp one of the Engineers, turn that fight around really quickly in favor of the Mesmers, actually. It was really looking like the Mesmers were going to lose that fight at Henge, but because of that last second Illusion of Life, they were able to keep him in it. Look at Kid Stazing now, the Mantra Mesmer here, who's holding up pretty well against two members of the Engineer team at the moment. He is running out of time, though, as these conditions tick away at him. He will be going down, and the Engineers will be retaining that point in their own honor. We have the Engineers.
Mesmers
Go ahead.
Made a mistake, in my opinion. They overcommitted to Chieftain. They sent 3 members there and just in one go for keep. If they would have maybe make an even split, they could have gotten a decap on keep by now.
Yeah. So we do have one member of the Mesmer team, Twisted Images, going for keep at the moment. However, 2 of the others are actually choosing to go for the red team's boss. They realize they need to steal anything and everything they can at this point. And unfortunately, they also lost their Henge once more to a back cap, so they're going to have to fall back there as well. Looking here at the middle now, it looks as though the Twisted Images will be going down within the next few seconds. No real surprises there as the Engineers are really outshowing him in these 1v1s here. And once more at the Henge as well. Liuli's having a tough time against Kuroshi, but he does have Kid Stazing coming in once more to support him now, as Kuroshi realizing, I don't want to take a 1v2, and he's going to back out.
There's a fight going on at Swan here. Let's see who gets it. Oh, Mesmer has actually got him, but I'm not sure if this is going to help them.
I don't believe it will at this point. The lead is far too extended, unfortunately, for the Engineer team. So there isn't really, and not to put a damper on the Mesmer team, but there really isn't much of a chance, at least for this game, that they can come back, which is pretty much going to guarantee the Engineers this first game here. As they try to res up other members of the Mesmer team. Oh, they screw over their own knockbacks there because of that big old bomb that went off. We also have 2 Mesmers over here at the Henge, taking on Chungi as well as Bloody Kuroshi, who's throwing grenades over here from the side. We got a Liuli here. I haven't looked at him yet much this match, running with that very defensive staff build, just choosing to be sort of the tank for her team a little bit here, based on what I could get from the build, as well as the gameplay here so far. But once again, within the next second here, Engineers will take the first game. Congratulations to the Engineers. And they're going to win the first one. And now we're going to move on to round 2. Just adjust our scores here. So how do you think that went in general? What made the Engineers come out on top, and what could the Mesmers have done differently to extend their lead a little better? If
they would have used their portal a bit better, they could have put put a better game up. They could have won that game if they just played for the 2 points and timed their neutral better. Then it could actually have worked. But the engineers did a really great job at pushing their far point and defending. Like they managed to sustain in the team fight on mid 3v5 or 3v4 for a pretty long time, and that was really well played at the start.
Indeed. So we have moved on now to the legacy of the Faux Fire here. We're going to go over the map real quick to those of you unfamiliar with Guild Wars 2. Looking at it now, as with all Guild Wars 2 maps, it is 3 capture points here. Well, the waterfall, the graveyard, and the quarry, one located close to each team spawn. Red team, the engineers spawn being there, and blue team, our Mesmers team spawn being here. And as of course, once again with all Guild Wars 2 maps, there's a secondary objective to consider. In both teams' bases, there is a lord located here, as well as here. If either team kills the enemy team's lord, they will gain 150 points to their total score needed of 500, which can really turn the game around in some clutch last-minute rushes. And as we wait now, both teams have pretty much joined up at this point, so as soon as we get them in here, we're not going to waste any time, and we're going to get right into round 2. So how do you think this map's going to make a difference here, Batosa?
I think Portal, once again, can become the game-changing part if they use it correctly and get one of the doors down and make a smart Portal play at 350 or a bit before. Mesmers are most likely to have the advantage on the Lord if they can do it right. Mm-hmm. But then again, also Engineer, if the waterfall is not controlled enough by the Mesmers, one engineer is enough to take down the Lord fairly quickly, so they also need to watch out for this.
Okay. So once again, as soon as I get everybody ready to here, give them the signal to go. And we're going to get right here in round 2. If the engineers win this one, they'll be moving on into our semifinals, whereas if the Mesmers win this one, we'll be moving on into Kylo for a 3rd round to determine our victors here in the quarterfinals of the engineers versus Mesmers. And you are hearing quarterfinals, but keep in mind the quarterfinals are the first set for today because we only have 8 teams. So waiting right now for Cat Medkit to ready up here. And as soon as they do, and there we go. We're getting started here, guys. 2nd round, Legacy of the Faux Fire. Engineers over there on the red side with your Mesmers taking on the blue side.
Last chance to nail down your strategy.
And as we begin the game here, we're going to see Swiftness more than likely come out once more for them on the Mesmer side over here. Engineers trying to throw out Swiftness, but unfortunately they don't have a lightning field. But they able to do that. Well, the Mesmers do have a Swiftness field to throw out. Opening up the map, let's see where teams choose to do their splits. Mesmers sending only one to their waterfall, which could prove a fatal mistake, as it looks like he is going to have one come over to contest him again. Meanwhile, and Mesmers will also send one across. Actually, he's a bit hesitant on that. Meanwhile, and they'll have 3 going in the middle. So Engineers once again splitting 1-3-1 here. While the Mesmers are actually doing the same exact thing, but more than likely because of just the way the classes work, I do feel that Engineers will come out on top of their cross.
Me too. Me too.
And back in the middle, we did already have one of the Engineers go down to a very strong burst coming in from the Mesmers. A knockback from a big old bomb will knock them back here, and will give MG Platypus some time to res up. Unfortunately, it does look like he is still under pretty heavy pressure. They're coming in from all this Mesmer AoE. IC Kill is also getting low, however, trying their best to res up Draco Dustslinger. Apologies for trying to pronounce that name. And both teams are trying desperately to res their teammates as well as to stomp their opponents here. We also have... We had IC Kill get up from an Illusion of Life, and Draco Dustslinger will go down, which will keep IC Kill in this. Twisted Images, however, over here at the waterfall, was taken out by Bloody Kuroshi, which is going to give them that initial side cap as well as over the quarry as well. So it does look like Mesmers will control the initial cap in middle. However, they are going to lose the side points and possibly middle now as well because of the close proximity to these points. They'll be in a pretty close range to fall back to middle and support their teammates. And we are going to see once more.
I think
go ahead.
That one of the Mesmers pushing for far node was a poor decision in my opinion. They should have backed up the close point with 2 people and then just sent 3 to mid. Then they could probably have killed Kuroshi and still have even numbers on it, or at least for long enough time.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a poor decision sending the Mesmers to the side points. But however, as I say that, actually, because the Engineers got so focused on this middle point now, we sort of have a switch up of what happened last game. We do have the Mesmers going for the side points now. Chunky's coming back to defend the quarry, as well as Kuroshi coming back to defend the waterfall. However, both the Mesmers did manage to decap, but they are going to need support on one of these points because, in my opinion, they really don't have the capability to win these one-on-ones versus the Engineers, just because of the way their class works and the builds that they are running. And the fight for middle is still brewing. We have Cat McKit, who has just gone down throwing down a heal elixir, but it's not going to matter because Kid Stasic pops his invulnerability and gets him down. Because of that, Kid Stasic's actually holding a 2v1 at the moment against his own favor, taking on Draco Dustslinger and NG Platypus, but it looks like, though, he is going to go down here within the next couple seconds, which will give the engineers the middle as well. We do have Icy Kill coming in, but it's not going to be fast enough, and he will get knocked out here as Icy Kill will take the time to hold it for his own team. We see Oimora, it looks like he's about to come into middle as well, along with Liuli. Waterfall was recaptured by Kuroshi, and it looks like Kuroshi's actually going for blue team's gate now, maybe an early Lord cap, and Chungi as well has capped the side point for his team. Current score, 96 points for the Engineer, only 10 points for the Mesmers, but keep in mind, we're only 3 minutes into the game, and it's still really anyone's game this early. And we do see Lioli once again holding off a lot of pressure, especially coming in from conditions from the Engineers. Unfortunately, because of the rapidity of these conditions rolling in, she's not going to be able to hold it off for long. She doesn't have a lot of condition cleanses, so we will see her go down here within the next few seconds, thinning out the Engineer, the Mesmer numbers in middle, all that and more. Back over here, Waterfall, we once again Bloody Kuroshi taking on Kid Stasic. I don't know if this is a communication issue, but I definitely think they should be getting 2 or more people on these side points when they do go for them.
Yes.
I think you can agree with it. We do have Twisted Images coming in to support against Kuroshi now. It's just really hard, I think, for Mesmers to take on Engineers 1v1, which is why we're seeing that almost all the time the points go into the control of the Engineers. If they grouped up a little bit more and went for side points in groups of 2 or 3, I think they could be doing a lot better. And we are going to see portals laid down now on Waterfall as they manage to recapture this. Kuroshi was not actually killed, rather just pushed off the point, so more than likely he will be returning to the Waterfall in just a second here. Yep. He's going to turn around and come back now, so Mesmers might be in trouble. They got to use that portal in time as well as he moves back over to the point. Back on middle, we do have one of the Engineers has been mowed, but at the same time, Icy Kill is down for his team and does not look like he will be in a position to be res. We're going to have Frenzy Fields going down and trying to res him up. Unfortunately, I think he's too low at this point. Not the best choice for the Mesmers to be going in on. And over here, we're also going to have Chungi just tossing in grenades. Look at these damage numbers being thrown in on the Mesmer team. Just absolutely destroying them 1v1 here. Twisted Image is down. Icy Kill is down. Kid Stasic sitting somewhat low, but he is on the Waterfall looking over here once more. He does need that support. We do have the portal. If it was not his portal, and it doesn't look like they are going to use that. However, just choose to focus back on middle, and Kuroshi will be able to stop down Stasic here in just a couple seconds. Back over to middle once more. We do still have the Engineers holding a pretty dominant lead, 240 points to 36 points for the Mesmers.
That's really not going well for the Mesmers, but they don't gather up before they assault a point. They just kind of funnel into 1 point and take too much free damage. Especially, you saw it when they tried to rest. They dropped feedback bubble, but it's still to secure the rest. So, especially against Engineers, that if they have some guys running the grenade kit, it's so much pressure on down target.
Yeah. Now, assuming the position now where Engineers have predominantly taken all 3 points and are pretty strongly holding, what would be a good move for the Mesmers at this point?
It's going to be hard to turn that around. They definitely need to get back one of their side points. So a push for that should be... That's what they need to do. And then do some smart portal play. Maybe fake an assault on the far node as well, and then just collapse on middle, because the Engineers, well, the map is pretty close to gather the points, but they could still get the edge by a coordinated burst if they can come back from that.
Indeed. And we did see them now, two of the members move in over to Waterfall now, moving into the Waterfall, so they will be getting that point back as well. We do have another 1v1 taking place, so actually a 2v1 in the favor of the Engineers over here at Quarry. So Engineers, unfortunately, bursting down Twisted Images here pretty nicely. They will take him down and rehold that point. Engineers now within range for a Lord Rush if they would like to do so, but assuming their safety in positioning right now, I do not believe they're going to choose that to do that. Kuroshi once more coming over to the Waterfall to decapture that. There is a portal up for the Mesmers, but I'm not sure if it's going to be used in time. Are they going to see this decap? And it does not look like they will. It will get decapped. He did preemptively throw in a big old bomb there, but it was not needed. Back over here at the middle, we currently have two Engineers taking on two Engineers taking on 3 Mesmers, and it does look like the Mesmers are coming out a bit on top here, but the Engineers are still holding on strong here. We're going to take a look at Draco Dustslinger's point of view now with this Super Elixir. We haven't seen it used much in here, but he's taking a lot of damage. Now look at 7 to 8 stacks of confusion all over him. Does cleanse that, but it's 10 stacks of vulnerability. He's going to be susceptible to a lot of damage as soon as his gear shield expires now. They are going to use an Illusion of Life to get Kid Stasic back into this battle now, but unfortunately Draco Dustslinger will be taking way too much damage coming in from that Illusionary Duelist, and he will go down here. 2 members of the Engineer team piling on him, trying desperately to res him up. However, it's going to be close, and yes, they will manage to get him up. Nicely done once more by the Engineers, keeping their supportive character in there. He's going to jump out using his Acid Bomb to leap away. keeping himself in this, will continue to do AoE damage on his opponents. We do have 3 members of the... While all that took place, however, we did have all 5 members now. Very unfortunate for the Mesmers. All 5 members of their team did go down, and we also have, it looks like, Kuroshi rushing in for the lore now. So at this point, it pretty much is almost undeniable that the Engineers will win this match for themselves. So once more, Batosai, what do you think Mesmers could have done differently? Again, I think the portal could have been used a lot more effectively. But beyond that, what do you think Mesmers could have done differently to possibly guarantee themselves a better chance against the Engineers here?
I think the Mesmers they didn't have a coach or anything, so they couldn't set up anything preemptively. So their splits were kind of unfortunate, and they didn't gather up before come to fight. So they started fights with 1 or 2 members already being pressured. So they always had a disadvantage. And to be fair, the matchup for the Engineers, well, because they can split and actually win most of the 1-on-1 fights, was a bit in their favor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, well, with some changes to their plays, they could have done way better and put up a good fight, and maybe even snatch a map from the Engineers.
All right, well, they did put up a pretty good fight, and congratulations to the Engineers, who will be moving on into our semifinals now. So while we set up the next set of players, guys, we're going to take a quick 2 to 3 minute break while we move everyone between the arenas. We'll be right back, and be sure to stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in the first place, though. So we'll be right back, guys.